Would anyone else like to introduce themselves?
Hi, everyone. My name is Diana, and I'm here with my daughter, Naima. We also just moved to Albuquerque a couple months ago from LA. And kind of like with what Maya said, it's been a challenge making connections and getting to know people because we are still in the pandemic. So I also found you on Instagram, and I was really excited to get to celebrate the beginning of this new season in community. And thanks to Amber, who I don't know, and I don't think she's here. They're here. We were able to get the material to be here today. So as soon as Naima saw it, she got really excited to make a potion together. So that's why we're here. Happy to be here.
We're happy you're here as well. Thank you. Anyone else?
My name's Eunice, and I also found it through Instagram, and I think maybe through some of the people that I've connected with the Yoga for POC community, and also my 5-year-old might come in and out. I'm not sure yet. But newish to Albuquerque, also just like 2 years now, but because of the pandemic, not really being able to feel like I connect, but I really am feeling like I'm very more curious and wanting to connect. So this is my way of trying to find more community, yeah.
Great to have you here, Eunice. Would anyone else like to introduce themselves? All right, with that, I'll pass it to Sonai. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. And I'm actually here with Sylvia. She's our abuela here at Ochpanitzli. Do you want to say hi?
Yeah. Kowali Tonali. Buenos días, or it's buenas tardes. So I'm just going to be here, and I think we're going to talk a little bit about Ochpanitzli while we're doing this work. So yeah, it's good to be here with you. Like to have all of you too.
Yeah, thank you for being here, Sylvia. So Ochpanitzli is the upcoming veintena, meaning like the 20-day count. And it starts on the 28th of October. And it is normally when people they sweep either their homes with a very intentionally, or even their neighborhood streets. And so what we're doing today is that we'll be putting together our brooms that are sort of modeled after the brooms that we've used in previous years for past Ochpanitzli commemoration or celebrations. And so I guess I'll start with kind of my own experience with Ochpanitzli about maybe three years ago or something like that. I participated in an encuentro, a health fair that was hosted by Calpulli. And we went through the streets of Varelas with the danzantes, and everyone in the community had a broom. And so we were sweeping the streets as we were walking through, and it was a way to bring in the new season, but also sort of together like cleansing the space, cleansing the way. And I know that in the past here at Calpulli, they've swept the driveway, right? As well, all the way to the street. So it's something that happens every year, and it's a way to make space for new beginnings. Also giving thanks for the harvest season, because the materials that we use come from this year's harvest. They were sourced from Project Feed the Hood's garden. And so they saved us these corn husks from the corn that was left over from this year's harvest. And what do you think, Sylvia? Do you want to do you have any input about Ochpanitzli so far?
Yeah, just a couple of things I wanted to mention. When we say just so that you kind of can wrap your head a little around it a little bit, because I remember when I was first introduced to the calendario Azteca, it just seemed like overwhelming to me. So when we say a veintena, they're 20 that means 20 days, and it's equivalent to like a month, like in the Gregorian calendar, not so much in number of days, because the number, the Gregorian calendar makes absolutely no sense. And so some months have 30 days, 31 days, etc. They've taken away a month, they've added a month, it's just, it has nothing to do with the cycles and with natural cycles or Mother Earth cycles. And the veintena does. It has everything to do with the divine order and count. We can say Mayan count or the calendario Azteca count, but it was the calendario Azteca was taken. The count was is the same as the Mayan. And so I just wanted to say that to kind of give you a little bit of an idea of when we say the veintena, what that means. And then of course the calendar year. The calendar year starts in March, goes all the way around with 18 months, 18 veintenas, and then it ends again as well. So, and then the other thing I wanted to kind of mention a little bit, by the way, Soraya asked me, come and sit down and you can help me do plática. So she didn't know what she was getting into. But anyway, the other thing is the broom, just the Escoba itself. I mean, a lot of us have heard of lots of different things, right? In terms of healing. One is, doing a barrida, right, on us, and we remember like our abuelas and tias and all doing the barridas on us. Well, also too, in our stories, our ancestors tell us lots of stories, even in the creation story of the Quinto Sol, which now we're going into the Sexto Sol, but the creation story of the Quinto Sol was the mother of the universe. Cuauhtlicue, she was sweeping the temple. And so that's what's written in all of the interpretations and of that story, of the creation story. But in reality, when I first heard the story, depends on the person, but then it was explained to me later by another elder. But I envisioned a woman like actually sweeping the temple, like with a broom and sweeping, but has always meant, the barrida has always meant a cleansing during a purification. So that's what she was doing. She was doing a purification of the temple because they knew that time and the shift was happening in energetically, an energetic shift was happening. And so she was cleansing the temple. And so it has always been related to cleansings and purification so that you can sweep out the old and allow the new stuff, to come in, and more stuff to come in. And I think that's something that, because it's so cyclical to us, it's a constant thing that we do. But in the European, in the Western mentality, the very linear thinks of sweeping as dirty, as getting rid of something, getting rid of something dirty, and that, if you got to sweep, that means there's something dirty there, and that began to make that connection before they even came over here, with the burning of the witches and in the old Celt traditions, and in the old what was considered at the time pagan, but pagan basically just means people who work the land. And because they believed in the natural cycles, that's how they plant it, right? And so the broom has always been something almost negative to the European mind of witch and connecting it to witches. And so if you look at the flyer announcing this workshop, you see two images on the side on each side of the title.
Let me see if I can pull it up so that they
Okay.
can see it, because it's kind of cool that it has the pic. Oh, there she is.
Yeah, there she is.
Tlasolteo.
Yes, that's Tlazolteotl. Do you want to tell them about Tlazolteotl?
Oh yes.
Okay.
So Tlasolteo is she's the eater of filth. Is that, or is she's the one
That's-
that transforms?
Yes, that's
She's
the,
the
that's
one
the
that-
anthropologist
Oh, okay.
interpretation
Yeah.
of the eater of filth.
Yeah, but she transforms all of our offerings into life. And so
With
that
love.
with love, and so that transformation is what a lot of people were afraid of, right? And so you'll see here in the flyer, she's riding on a broom, and I love the way that she's drawn, because she even has like little like love handles, and like I love her. She's so cute. And she has like a serpent in her hands, right? And the serpent is a symbol for fertility, right? And
Yes,
and transformation.
Mhm. Yes, the shedding of the old, the skin shedding, and making room for the new again. And I wanted to make that clarification, because I think when you look and research her, the interpretation is given a lot about her. She was the eater of filth, and again, because she was riding on a broom, and there's lots of different images of her in different ways too. But she was a feminine energy representing fertility. She's, there's images with her with moons, have moons all over her, because that also represents fertility and also cleansing, and limpias. And so but her name Tlazot is love. Like when we tell someone we love you, we say Tlazotla. And so but if you cut it short, and that's how that interpretation was made, that Tlazo is means like filth, waste, more like waste, something that's no longer needed. And just, linear thinking is, they don't think cyclical like recycling, right? They just say you can throw it away. But Tlazolteo's work, she would transform it into something that was usable, and she would do that with love. So
That's
Mhm.
beautiful.
yeah.
I love that. Does anyone have any questions about anything that we've said so far, or have any reflections? I know that, sometimes sweeping can seem mundane, right? Like when we sweep, we don't even think about it. But what happens when we don't sweep, right? Like we're surrounded by our own not filth, but like our own like skin, or maybe like particles of hair, like even if we have animals and things like that. Like it's important for us to constantly be on top of it. And something that I always notice, like when I go to Mexico, is that like I'll always see like people with their businesses, like in the morning, they'll sweep every day in the morning
With water.
with water. Yeah. And it's become a ritual for a lot of them, and maybe a lot of us. And I think that we should return the importance of la barrida and make it a ritual, like and not do it just because we have to do it because we want to do it, and because it makes us feel good. I always feel good after I sweep. And so what do you all think? Oh, Tlazolteo, that was her name.
She's actually the guardian for every veintena. There's there's a guardian of energy, which means like an energy that is part of that veintena that moves that energy. And Tlazolteo is that guardian energy for that month for Ochpanitzli. And it's and also too, again, you always think Ochpanitzli was also the time where healers were recognized and honored, and it makes sense because the healers were the ones who limpias were a big part of healing, because they felt like, the limpia wasn't only like the physical cleaning of ourselves, our body, the streets or whatever. It was also energetically like cleaning energies that are no longer needed, things that are no longer wanted, things that are affecting you, old emotions and things that we carry. And that's a big part of healing. And so that's why the healers were recognized as those who carried the medicine and also the broom for doing the limpias and getting rid of that's no longer wanted or needed for healing.
Yeah, and the fall is also sort of in that same theme. The fall is associated with letting go, right? The fall is associated with going inward as the light decreases, the night increases, and so that's sort of giving us a signal indicating, hey, get ready, where the harvest time is over, but it's time for us to go inward. So it's sort of signaling that, and in order for us to go inward, I think that it's important for us to do limpias on ourselves before we go in that direction.
Oh, just one more real quick thing is when we talk about barridas, and you probably remember this, at least I do remember, that at that time, I have to be honest, it was more like with herbs, like lots of herbs and hierbas and stuff like that. So that's also, in case you're wondering, this is because it was this time of the year, and it was done not only, with each other, but it was done with the streets, and it's the time of harvest. So you always use what is accessible, right? And what energies that carries. And so that's what we're gonna work with today. But it's also known as to be the escobas, los barridas, to be done with different kinds of herbs depending on what you needed. No.
Do you want to mention something
I was
about
going
the
to say something
marigold?
about the marigolds.
Yeah, go
but
ahead.
maybe we could, okay, we will
Yeah.
go into more detail about it later. But the veintena, because we're not we're barely on the 10th, and we still have a few more to go. But around the time, the veintena, in case you're wondering, the marigolds, why we're using marigolds, well, also too, this time of the year is when they're blooming a lot, and they're called sampasushi, which means flower of the dead. And so and one of the reasons is because it is the last veintena. The last veintena in the Aztec calendar is the symbol of it is just like the broom is for this veintena, the sampasushi is the veintena for the last what do you call it, the veintena. And one of the reasons is because now these have already been more cultivated. Okay, so it's got lots of petals, but you may have seen the more original ones, the thinner that don't have a lot of them. Originally they had 20 petals, 20 petals. And so once it represented the end, because it's time of death. Then there was no more, right? No more petals, but then it begins again. So it's almost like resurrection more. It ends, but then there's a beginning as well. And so that's why they're also used. That's why I said, no, wait till we talk about it for Dia de los Muertos, because that's why they're used more. Also, the Sampasushil is used for Dia de los Muertos, but also because they're in big bloom, right now, and they're used specifically to put on the brooms of this, and specifically about what Sonai was saying about the fall, because the fall is the last season, is the fourth season, before we begin the cycle again of Mother Earth's cycles, because the first one begins in the winter solstice in December, and then the fall is the fall equinox. It's the last of them when we look at the solstice, and then the spring equinox, and then the summer solstice, and then the fall equinox. It's the last of her seasons as she's going around the earth. And so again, when you reach that point, it's time to let go. It's time to, what is that word? Reflect. Take some time to reflect on the past year, or even the past season, or even the past, that veintena. So you can assess what it is then that has worked for you, and then you take that on, to the brand new cycle and the brand new year, or you leave it behind and you get rid of it. So it also has to do with death of the old and rebirth of the new as well.
Thank you, Sylvia. That actually it reminds me of something that I learned too about the Aztec calendar, is that it always ends on Xochitl, right? And so when the calendar ends on Xochitl, it's indicating like that, the end of that cycle. But what a beautiful ending to that cycle, right? The flowers that not only help the bees pollinate, but also like bring beauty and healing to us. And so that I think that using marigolds is also really great for this purpose, because they're normally used to keep away like pests and things like that. And so it's very appropriate that you would be putting a marigold on a broom to ward away pests and things like that. And so does anyone have any questions before we get started on the actual building of the brooms?
Can you see us okay?
Or hear us?
And hear us?
Okay.
I'm just wondering if you can see.
Yeah, we can see.
Yes. Lots of thumbs up. Thank you, everyone. Okay, sure. All right. So what I'm gonna do is, everyone should have gotten a bundle of corn husks, and also the top part of the corn. And so today we're gonna make hand brooms so that we can use it on ourselves and do a limpia on ourselves. But there's also some longer pieces that you can use to make it a longer broom, in case you want to make it in case you want to use it to, like, let's say
Around their house.
around your house, sweep the floor,
Like outside too.
or outside. And so you have the option of that. But traditionally we would this would be at the center, and then the corn husks themselves would surround it. So with like all the materials that you have. Oh yeah, we have more corn husks over there too. Yeah, sure. Good time. So is gonna go get some more corn husks. But what we'll be doing is we'll be creating a broom with this in the center. The part that goes at the top of the corn, that's going to be on the center of the broom. And so it's almost gonna look like an arrangement, like a flower arrangement, but with these in the center, and then with the actual leaves all around it. Sort of like that. Sort of like that, and then I'll put some more corn husks like on the side. Oh, look, here's some more. Thank you. Oh yeah, and sometimes we'll get little surprises too, like little pieces of corn, baby corn. But you know, that's what's beautiful about this process is that, you know, we're still using the whole part of the plant. Something like that, Sylvia?
That's beautiful.
Yeah, something like that. Can you all see it?
Ooh, surprise, this was a blue corn.
Oh, let's see it.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Can you all see the blue corn? Let's see.
I mean, because this can be used as part of the sweeping, so maybe just open it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Like the little hairs.
Yeah.
For the corn stalk.
So however, if you want to
Mm-hmm.
use this, however you want to put it, maybe use it with the
Maybe something like that. And then we'll probably put some marigolds on it as well.
You want to take it off? Right. Let me get the scissors. Too.
Okay. So here we have some marigolds. And we have them in different colors. Normally, like the minimum amount of marigolds you can add is maybe 2 of them. So each one of you should have gotten some marigolds. Kind of like that, Sylvia? Like a little bit of dualidad,
You have the
the
string.
colors. Yeah, and then they all have a string that they were tied with initially, this one. And we used like a natural fiber. Let's see. Yeah, if you can hold that top part and then I can tie it up here. Algo así, something like that. Maybe? Yeah. Okay, it looks great. And I know that it seems like a little rudimentary, but it's really beautiful. You know, you can keep this after you're done with it if you want. You can like probably hang it on your door, or that's normally what I do. And to do the limpia on yourself, you can you know, normally what I'll do is I'll focus on something that I'm trying to get rid of, whether it be like frustration or anger, or anything that's really getting in my way. I just kind of think about it and I pray on it. So for example, today I want to get rid of my, I guess my inability to ask for help. I want to get rid of, I want to get rid of the feeling that I'm being cumbersome for asking for help. And so at this moment with these plants that Mother Nature has offered us, I'd like to get rid of that guilt of feeling guilty for asking for help. And so what I'll do is I'll start with my head and I'll start brushing. Or you can also ask for help too. You know, like, can you help me with my limpia, please? Since that's part of my work of asking for help. Should I stand up?
Yeah, let's do. Can we see? Can you all see, or did we get out of the?
I think you can see
You
us.
can see us.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Like so, now you said start at the top, and then and so you start going down, and then when you start at the top, always go to. If you start you should start on the right and then go down. Okay, to the opposite side. Okay, down the opposite side. And then you do the same thing at the top. You start at the top of the head and then go down the opposite side. And then always do under the feet. Yeah. Under the feet, you can just, sorry, got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, do under the feet as well. And then as you come down, then again, cross. And then cross, make sure you do this, particularly for women around the womb. Okay, and you cleanse out, cleansing the womb. And again, down to the bottom, and then, and also the bottom of the feet. Yes. Okay. And then, and then the back, if you want to do the back side as well. And there's an energy point right here that's pretty potent. And so always just make sure. And it helps with those, and many of you probably know that it helps with the power center in our throat. And for women, that's really important because we've been taught to shut up, to be shut down or whatever. And so that helps us reclaim our voice and our power. Okay, and then you can do it again. Oh yeah, and then why don't you do that part?
Okay, like giving, okay. Gracias, giving thanks to these powerful hands that have allowed us to do this work, and also giving thanks to these sacred elements that have encompassed every single element, the earth, the fire, the wind, and the water. It is because of these elements that we even have these materials and that we're here today. And so giving thanks to these sacred materials and to the sacred heart and hands. Thank you.
And then you will be instructed by the person with the link on you. You'll be instructed as to what to do with it when you get done. Okay.
Yeah. And so normally when we do limpias, we'll instruct people to bury the materials used or to, throw it in the river or in a stream so that it moves on away from your life. But what do you think about keeping these? Like normally do people keep the escobas that they make?
I usually the hierbas no, because they carry the essence of whatever you were cleansing, And so, but these here that it doesn't hurt to leave it, and particularly because these have flowers on them. And something we didn't say that I forgot to say about flowers, sushi. Sometimes they use the word sushi like with a U, XU, or soshi, which is flower. And it's not necessarily the flower, but the flower itself represents the spirit or the essence. And so whenever you see soshi written, it doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, she's, laugh, or she's got flowers in the rain or whatever, but it might mean the essence of rain, might mean the essence of that. And so it carries it whole, it's limpia, and particularly when you do the outside of your home. And so all around your house, the outside. And because this is really good to do the limpia for around the outside of your home, like for protection as well. Then I would suggest, and particularly if it is being used for protection, that to keep it, in, and put it, if you want, by the door, or you can put it on your altar as well, because that was the intention, is to get rid of anything that was not serving, the either you or the household itself, and then to protect it, for protection as well. So then you, in that instance, you can keep it. And then I would say, in terms of, I think it's like listening. I call the maestra interna, right? You're listening to your own internal teacher, or goddess, and in terms of, if you're ready to let go of it, because you probably don't want to, even if you do decide to keep it on your altar or something, you don't want to hold on to it too long. It'll come to you when you need to do that, and how you need to do that, because sometimes things in our life do need to flow, like water, flow easily like water. And in some cases, we may want to burn, use fire, the element of fire. And in other cases, we may need to bury it and give it back to the earth, so she'll know what to do with it. And then what else did I leave? Water. Oh, the wind. And as a matter of fact, for Ochpanitzli, that was the time of winds. And so it recorded. Of course, that was recorded in more like further south. And for us, I don't think that's necessarily the time of winds. Like,
but it makes sense, because when the wind comes, it does a limpia on the earth, through the streets. And so whenever it's really windy, personally, I feel like it's a limpia on our city. Like when we walk out, everything's barrido,
Yeah.
Everything's swept.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would make sense that it would be a time of wind.
Yeah.
So does anyone have any comments or questions? And I know it can be kind of messy with with the materials. But I do appreciate everybody participating in this way. It's very beautiful. It's a way to preserve our traditions and to honor our fruit, our harvest. And so if no one has any questions or comments, then what I wanted to ask, oh, did you want to show them that like cute little thing you just made?
Yeah,
She just made a
I-
small little hand broom.
here's a little, yeah, a little hand.
There was a question about repeating the part about using it around the house.
So what we can do if we're gonna use this to clean the house, normally, do you want me to say what I do normally?
Yeah, and also, are you asking about inside the house or outside the house?
All it said was around the house.
Around
Yeah,
the house,
oh,
okay.
yeah.
So normally when I do limpias, I'll go counterclockwise around the house to remove energy, and then I'll go clockwise if I have something like opal, or if I have some sort of herb, then I'll smudge clockwise with all the windows open. Can it yeah, that's for the inside. What about the outside?
Yeah, and I just wanted to say something about the inside too. That to always do openings first, like whichever, if you're going, which way did you say?
If
I do mine a
I
little
normally
bit
do
different, but-
counterclockwise, yeah.
Okay, counterclockwise, and you do it so say you start off at a door, so you do the door, all the openings, and then go to the windows, and you do that all the way, but following that, but make sure that you do, in corners, energy gets stuck there a lot. And then don't forget to do the ceilings. Even if you do like this, an oiling to the 4 directions, so that you can cleanse anything that goes up and stays there. And so that's it for inside.
There's a great question that says, can it protect your home from local neighbors?
Yeah.
Yes.
Protect your phone.
Your home from,
your
from
home,
crazy
okay.
neighbors.
Yeah.
The answer is yes. And then it says, where could one get these materials if they don't own a farm? You could probably grow corn, right? Or-
Yeah, but I would say too, if you're not into growing this, this is the time of the year, this is the harvest. So if you drive around, and particularly in areas like the South Valley, everybody grows corn, but even in urban areas too, you'll see sometimes, like just a little couple of strips, because it's got to grow at least so it'll pollinate properly. But you'll see it. And then so the time of the harvest, a lot of people, they take off all the corn and then leave all of this stuff, and until later. And some people, like I leave mine for compost and let it compost over the winter. But and just go and ask them. If they've taken all the corn, they'd be glad for you to clean their.
That's true. That's true. When
You
I
know?
asked for these materials, they were more than happy to let me take them.
Yeah.
Let's see. The broom can be placed by the doors. Yes, it's about the self limpia, but also the limpia of your home. And if you wanna do a limpia like down your street or down your driveway, it's you taking care of your neighborhood. It's you taking care of your people with these ways. And so why not? Why not? If you have the knowledge and the tools, why not do that for your community?
I love that suggestion of burying it, because how you were saying in the beginning about transformation, like putting it in a garden or somewhere where there's something that can grow later, especially letting go of difficult things, it feels like a beautiful way to grieve and to process.
Yeah. Like I said, it's rather than dictating it and saying, oh, you should do this, use water, use this, or use a specific herb, is like listen to your own your intuition. I mean, if you remember, as women, that was the first thing that they took away from us, to disempower us, to take away our power, was to instill doubt and fear within us so that we don't even trust ourselves. And so that is something, in particularly for those who are doing health self-healing, and you want to share, with your family too, is trusting yourself and listening to that maestra interna, to help guide you in how to use the elements, and what works for you, and also that particular time, because you might get something different when you do it again. Yeah. I've had people that come to me, make an appointment, and they'll tell me, can you do me a limpia with huevos, pigs? And I said, well, okay, well, let me see what it is that you need, because this is what, we sometimes were raised that way, right? We were, and with our abuelas rubbing the huevo all over us. And that was usually when you had like a fever and stuff, because it absorbs, and sometimes we don't, things like that we didn't know. And so, so somebody will come and say, oh, can you come and do a limpia using Romero, or can you come and do, they want something specific, because that to them, and it's good to hear their story. Like, why do you want that? And it's very interesting, the stories that you get back, why it is that they want that. And it's usually related to the whole purpose of why they want the limpia.
Mm-hmm.
Something that they got to get rid of, so yeah.
What are kind of, I kind of want to transition into the medicine. What are some herbs that you all have leaned on during the pandemic? Like, so for example, an herb that I've leaned on a lot has been nettles. Like I've really leaned on nettles because they've helped me, like, just sort of get through this whole pandemic and my stress wise and health wise. And so what are some herbs that help you all, or have helped you all during this pandemic specifically? Cedar.
What are you reading?
Right here.
Oh, okay. Ooh, I can't see that at all. Cedars.
Oh, look,
A lot of
Eunice
people have
has marigold flowers.
Oh.
We're gonna hit you up, Eunice.
Yeah.
Anyone else? I know that sometimes with these Zoom calls, it's hard to, like, get like real conversation going, but I do appreciate you all for being here, for listening, and for sharing as well. And I wanted to pass the palabra to, oh, does Tabitha have a question? I wanted to pass the palabra to
Alicia.
Alicia. Oh, look, Eunice says that she's used lemon balm, mint, nettle, rose hips, and hibiscus.
Wow.
Also cedar berries. Tabitha, did you have a question? With your little hand?
Is that her? Oh, I can't
Yeah,
see.
down
Oh,
here.
down
It's
there.
kind of hard to see out here.
Yeah, I see the manita.
She said she meant to send a heart.
Oh, thanks. We're gonna send you a heart too. Great. Well, thank you so much, you all, for participating in this part of the workshop. I have my things for my materials for the tincture workshop. Whenever you all are ready to do that, I'm ready to do that.
Cool. Thank you, Sonai. Thank you, Maestra Silvia.
Oh, my God.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Alicia Chavez, and I'll be guiding you through the tincture part of the workshop. Yeah, so I just want to start off by first giving thanks to all of my teachers. So definitely Sonai and Maestra Silvia, my mama, my sister, my tia, Mama Chaveta, and then all of the homies of Abuelas Medicina and people that I've met throughout my life. I've, learned from every single person. Today I learned from Maestra Silvia and Sonai that if you leave the marigolds in the sun, that their color will fade, but if you dry them in the dark, that their color won't fade as much. So, already learning. I mean, still learning. Even today, I was thinking about that. So this event was put on by Abuelas Medicina in partnership with Ochpanitzli, our elders who are guiding us, showing us the way. And Abuelas Medicina is I think we're a 3-year-old cooperative. We're a healing cooperative based out of Tiwa territory, now known as Burke, Albuquerque. And we started so that we can learn medicine from each other and also share that learning back into the community. So we feel like it's time to get that knowledge out there. It's time that these medicines, remedios, these working with energy is put back into the hands of the community, that it's common knowledge anymore, that it's not hidden or, you have to pay a lot of money to learn it, that you could go to your backyard or walk along the road and find different hierbas that can serve you and heal you and help you and each other in the community. Our vision for Abuelas Medicina is to liberate and restore our collective humanity for our current and future generations. We uplift our Black, Indigenous, and multiracial people of color relatives and reclaim our ancestral power to heal alongside all living beings. And our mission is that we honor the legacy of our BIMPAC abuelas and elders by reconnecting to and preserving ancestral medicine, partnering to provide equitable access to healing knowledge and remedios, and creating pathways for others to join. Like I was saying, Ochpanitzli has guided ourselves, our group, and others since the inception of our group. And we want to give gracias to Ochpanitzli and all of our other maestras, maestros, maestres. And we hope to have more events like this. So please, everyone, if you haven't already, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You could find us by searching Abuelas Medicina, and our logo is always our profile pic. So yeah, if you want to get out your supplies, your tincture supplies, we provided you with 2 glass canisters, glass jars of glycerin. That's what's inside of these, and a little packet of CBD and a little packet of lavender. And you probably also received this tincture, all relaxed. We get all relaxed with this tincture. It's the same tincture, lavender and CBD and glycerin. We made this a month ago at the last full moon so that it could be prepared for you all to try during today's workshop and to have moving forward. But you can kind of taste what it's going to taste like and experience what it'll feel like with this little tincture. It is really strong. Like that lavender is really strong. So maybe you want to water it down. But you could also just take it like that. Some other things that you might want to get are a little stir. I have just a chopstick, you know, just a little one, just some, or a spoon, and something to clean your space with. I always like to just be prepared to clean up after medicine making, especially with something sticky like glycerin. You just want to have something ready to clean around your space. And if you're 21 and over, we also suggest the optional ingredient of 80 proof or above alcohol. And that the alcohol, we would put less than 25% within the mixture. And that just helps preserve this mixture longer. So the glycerin is already preservative, but it doesn't last as long as alcohol. So we put a little bit just to enhance that preservation property. So before we get into the actual medicine making, I wanted to go into a little bit about the protocols when harvesting medicina, working with medicines. So I don't know if y'all have ever seen the movie like Water for Chocolate, or if you have ever been told like don't cook when you're not in a good mood, right? Or only cook when you're in a good mood. Same thing goes when you're making medicine and when you're harvesting medicine. You want to go in with a buena onda, just good vibes, high spirits, happy, and thinking and with an intention of healing. Either you're healing yourself, you're harvesting this medicine to heal other people in community. You may not know who it's going to go to yet, but you just want to have that good intention for your medicine. So first thing is you observe the environment that the medicine is growing in. Is it in a healthy ecosystem? Are there lots of other plants around that look healthy? Are there an abundance of different life, like bugs, maybe butterflies, bees, little animalitos, or do you see pollution anywhere, right? So like, yes, there are a lot of yerbas that grow wild on the side of the road, but you probably will not want to use that medicine internally, because when it's growing on the side of the road, it's taking in all of that pollution from the cars, from the people walking by, from the dogs walking by. So you just want to be cognizant of that when you're harvesting. So just look around and think about, you know, does this look like healthy enough for me to take internally into my body? And you get to decide that for yourself. And then always have an offering when you're harvesting. You could offer water, you know, all the plantitas love water. You could offer a prayer, a song. You could offer some babas if you don't have anything else, some spit. You could also offer seed, corn pollen, like native seed. You know, you want to make sure that it's seed that's native to the area. Corn pollen. I made a little mixture of atole and lavender, and that's what I use to offer when I'm harvesting. But there's, you know, you just want to make that offering, make that exchange with the plantita. You're telling the plantita, this is what I want to use you for. and then you're offering that in exchange for that use. And a prayer. Prayer is another thing that you can offer. And I just learned from my homegirl Whisper that when we harvest plants and animals in balance, so when we mimic the natural world, like the ways in which deer eat the plants, that we can help these plants live in abundance. So when you harvest in the right way, that plant will grow more abundantly. Not if you're like taking the plant from the root and uprooting it, of course not. But if you're cutting it in the right way, only taking about a third of the plant or less than a third of what's growing in that area, you could come back and there's going to be more. Also, a good suggestion is like if it's already seeding, taking some of that seeds and helping those seeds to spread. But we are a part of the ecosystem. We're not separate from it. And the fact that our actions of harvesting in balance can support the regeneration and abundance of these plants and animals is a testament to the way that we are a part of this ecosystem. Are there any questions or reflections on anything that I've said so far?
I just wanted to add, and something we've also done is like we'll offer like a strand of hair as well to the plant, because it helps them to. Oh, right. The bottle doesn't have any alcohol. The tincture, we made it with glycerin on purpose, but you can make it with alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, glycerin is good for diabetics. And something that Sylvia mentioned about the marigolds is that they are antibacterial, and they can be used in soap to treat acne.
Yeah, and also for foot fungus.
And
That's
foot
a-
fungus,
that's a
if you
bacteria.
encounter it.
Thank you, Sonia and Maestra Silvia. Does anyone else have any reflections or questions?
I like the idea that when you harvest something, it actually allows for more abundance of that. And it reminds me of like when you're weeding, like if you're planting and you're or farming and you're weeding and then the weeds just come back 10 times more. And how some of them are like leafes or just like other foods that you can eat and they just like come back. So it makes me think about how like maybe that's what our ancestors used to do. It's just like harvest and then there'd be like more wild something for them to eat or enjoy. So that's really cool to learn.
Mm-hmm. I agree, Chastity. When I learned that, I was like, wow, it just kind of like reframed my whole relationship to the earth, I think. All right. And I'm gonna look at the chat real quick. Yes, reciprocity and generosity. Yes, always. I do want to say that there is a little bit of alcohol in this, but it's less than 25%. You won't be able to taste it, and it was just for the preservation. And you should have received 3 labels. One of them, it has this written out on it. We didn't stick it on the bottle because we wanted you to like be able to do that, to kind of reenact what it would be like to put your own labels on it, and to know that it's important to label your potions that you make. I like that idea. Label them so that you remember what's in them, because you think like, oh, I remember that was so special, I made that thing, and then you make 10 more potions in the same bottles and you forget which ones are which. And you also want to ensure to have the date on there. So we filled this out for you so you could see all of the different elements of what it includes to make a label, and then you all can copy that and make your own labels for the 2 tinctures that we'll make today. But I'll guide you through that in a minute. So we're gonna start with our lavender tincture. But before we make that, how have you all used lavender in the past, or why do you like lavender? And I just have always loved the smell. I think it's like a really, really beautiful smell. And so I just kind of always want to be around that smell. And the medicinal properties came to me after, just like loving it, but that's why I connected with lavender in the first place. But what about you all? How do you all use lavender? Oh, for tea and burning. Yes, I love a good lavender herb bundle to just smudge the space. How about others?
I just want to, well, me personally, like in terms of lavender, it's there's like such a sweetness about it, and it's just so it's such a gift, right? The fact that the earth can give us something just like so sweet and and tender and relaxing. Like you can even use it with kids. It's safe to use with kids as well. And so I'm just so grateful for things that are sweet naturally.
Yes,
Oh, use with rice heating pad? That's a good idea.
that is a good idea. So I just looked up lavender online a little bit. I don't know all of the healing properties. I'm still learning it myself. Diana and Naima use it with Jamaica. We'll use it today with dinner. Ooh, and for bath.
Mm.
That is nice. A good bath with lavender. So lavender can help to improve sleep, treat skin blemishes. It could be a natural remedy for pain. It's just calming. It could relieve asthma symptoms or possibly lessen menopausal hot flashes. It could also combat fungus growth, just like the marigold that we just learned, and promotes hair growth. Oh, it triggers your allergies, Lauren. But if it's in a tea or something, you can drink it. Nice. Nice. Yeah, I like learning all of about medicines and about cleansing your space and such. We're kind of guided in the mainstream way to white sage as like our herb to cleanse our space. But a lot of times that's not harvested sustainably. It's sometimes harvested illegally because it's become so popular. And so we've been learning about more locally sourced herbs that we can use to cleanse our space. And lavender is one of them, just like Eunice was saying that you could burn it. Lavender smells incredible. It kind of reminds me of sweetgrass. When you burn sweetgrass, it's similar in smell, and it creates like that uplifting, like happy feeling in your space. So that's one of my favorite ways to use it. And at the Kalpuli, we've used lavender oil with vinegar to clean the floors as a way to energetically clean the space. And literally, vinegar and lavender do clean, but great. So Nadia,
Yeah, I wanted to mention that a type of lavender that grows in Albuquerque is Russian lavender, and this isn't Russian lavender. The Russian lavender has the opposite effect of this one, so that's something that we should also keep in mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wish we could show you a picture of the difference of the two, because they both are purple. They both kind of have little small flowers, but they are pretty different. You could tell the difference once you see the two. All right, so it's a pretty easy, we kind of set up the mixture for you to mix it pretty easily. So we're gonna take one of our glycerin bottles, it doesn't matter which one, they both are the same. And you're just gonna open it. Remember to keep that buena onda, prayerful intention, thinking about what you're gonna use this for, what you want this medicine for. So let's take a minute to do that. So I'm just thinking about putting the intention into the flowers, into the glycerin that I want to use this medicine for calming. I just love the smell. So just also for that, you know, just taking that beauty inside of me and for my family and people that I choose to share this medicine with. And then you're gonna take your lavender and you're just gonna pour it into the glycerin. I'm not gonna do it all right away because one thing with these tinctures is you wanna ensure that the glycerin is gonna cover the herb entirely. You don't want any of your herbs sticking out of the glycerin. So I have my little stir, my chopstick, and I'm just gonna stir it in there. And usually, you know, we wanted to provide you all with the ingredients, but usually you would put the herb first and then you would pour the liquid on top. And you could still stir it, of course, but the process would be a little bit different. And right now we're not measuring anything. I think like if you're gonna sell it commercially, if you're gonna, you know, you want to tell people how much of the herb is in there and like the strength of the herb, especially like for CBD, they like to do that. Then you want to be really cognizant about, you know, how much cannabinoids are in here or how much lavender is in the glycerin. But because we're using it for personal, this is for personal use, you just need to make sure that your glycerin is covering your flowers. And then when it sets, which I'll tell you more about that, like how long it sets and stuff, when you try it at the end, that's when you know how much to use, right? Because of your taste tells you, your experience with that herb tells you. So it does look like I could fit all of the flowers in there and be able to cover them all. So I'm just gonna pour the rest in there. So you all use your eye, use your intuition, and you do what fits for you. But that's probably the only rule with tincture making is you want to ensure that the liquid, and I'm saying liquid because it's glycerin or alcohol or honey, that the liquid covers the plant matter entirely. And if it doesn't, what could happen is like mold could build up in there and then you'd have to throw your whole batch away. So there
I have a question.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if this is happening to you all, but I kind of feel like it kind of like it floats on top of the glycerin, so it doesn't necessarily sink. Like, is that happening to everyone else?
Yeah, that happened when we made our first tincture as well. And it's floating, but the glycerin is still covering it. So if you could look, if you could see that in mine, it's still covering it, but it is floating.
Okay. So like it's okay if there's like a layer of glycerin at the bottom. Will it eventually go to the bottom?
Yeah, it will go to the bottom. It'll like infuse the whole glycerin bottle. All of the glycerin it will.
Thank you.
All right. So now I'm going to close that up. And this is where you would want to label. So where our label says all relaxed, like on top of the dotted line, you want to put lavender tincture. You know, that's what it is. It's just a lavender tincture. And then you want to put that you have lavender in there, that you have glycerin in there. If you put alcohol, put less than 25% of the entire mixture. And then you want to put alcohol in there, and then you want to put the date. And this is the date 8/22. That's the date when we first made this one. So you want to put September 25th on yours. And then you'll let this sit in a dark, cool spot, like in a cabinet's fine, for a month. So that's why the date is important. So you know, like when that month is, you know, we have busy lives. We're not just completely concentrating on our tincture every day, thinking about it every day. So you want to make sure to have that date on there. And then when you're ready to use it, you're going to strain the glycerin from the lavender. And you can do that with a strainer, like those metal strainers. You can also do it with cheesecloth. So you could buy that cheesecloth at the store, or just like a clean cloth is really all you need. A kitchen towel, you know, I wouldn't say a paper towel because that could probably break. You don't want it to break while you're straining it, but just so that the liquid can go through and that the flowers don't. And then you could put the flowers in a bath. You could reuse the flowers. You could put them in the bath with you, or just put them in your compost. But you do want to return them to the earth if you can. So in a bath, you might not be able to because they'll go down the drain. But putting them in a compost, or putting it like in your garden, dug up in a spot somewhere, is a good idea, just so you could return that. Maya and Anais, I don't know if it makes a difference if it's a plant-based or animal-based glycerin. I don't know much about glycerin. The glycerin that we gave you is plant-based though. So that's our little lavender tincture, you know, and you could check on it every couple of days, every week, just to see how it's going. A lot of medicine makers like to make medicine with the moon. So you want to maybe start on a new moon and then check on your tincture when the next new moon comes, which is in a month, right? Or you start on a full moon and then you look at it again at the next full moon, or you process it at the next full moon. It's an easy way to keep track. You just think about the moon cycle that you made it in. So I don't know what our moon looks like today. Let's see, I have a little app that tells me. Oh, it's our moon is gonna look like this tonight. So when it looks like this again, I wish I could tell you if it's waning or waxing, I don't know. But when it looks like this
I think it's waning because the full moon was on like Monday.
Okay. So if when it's waning and it looks like this again, then we'll want to look at our tincture, or just in a month on October 25th. So you want to let the tincture steep for a month in a cool, dark place. You know, there's going to be different tactics for different herbs. Some people like to heat up the tincture, and that will quicken the process. Some people like to use the sun. Some people want to put it in the moon. But all of those different things will make your time different, especially if you add heat. It's gonna lessen the steeping process. If you're just sitting it, which is what I'm asking you to do, just let it sit in a cool, dark place for a month, it'll be ready in a month. All right.
And Alicia, I have another question, and it's intended to be taken internally, right? And like, would that be under the tongue, or how can we use the tincture once it's strained and ready?
Thank you. That's a good idea. So what we did, I'm going to show you to make the CBD tincture next. And we mixed the lavender and CBD tincture into this little bottle that we gave to you. And this is to take internally. And what I've taken this twice already. And what I've been doing is just taking a little bit, putting 2 drops just on my hand, and then licking it off my hand. But you could put it on your tongue. It's just a really strong tincture. So you like, I don't know, it's a lot. So that's why I only take a little bit. But you could add it to like a tea, a cooler tea. You know, you don't want it to be burning hot because that could burn away some of the medicine. But you could add it to a tea. This, the glycerin's a little sweet, so you could add it to like, put it on your little toast, put it on any food, right? You could put it in your smoothie, like anything that you eat, you could put it in and mix it up so that it's not so strong. Yeah, thank you for that question. Glycerin.
That sounds really good. I would love to put it in some like atole or something.
Oh, that would be so good. That would be really good. Yeah, put it in your atole, everyone. I'm gonna do that. Glycerin, we've gotten glycerin at Sprouts, La Montanita Co-op. I think the herb store has some too, but Sprouts, you know, I think in the health, not the health food, but like, what is that spot called? There's like the beauty products and stuff. It's like beauty and cleaning products. Like it's in that area. Or you could ask someone and they'll guide you to it. And we got ours online too, because we wanted like a bigger thing. So we got a bigger thing online, and you could get like 16 ounces at Sprouts or something like that. You're welcome. Another great liquid to tincture with is honey. If you can get your hands on some local honey, that just adds a whole other layer of medicinal properties. Oh yeah, VitaCost is a good spot. Thank you. Okay. Let me see where we're at. So the reason that we wanted to do this lavender and CBD tincture with you all is because this tincture is meant for relaxation. And we were thinking when we first started planning this encuentro, people were starting to come out into public more, having to go back to work, or, you know, just more safe opportunities to be in with people. But at the same time, because we've been by ourselves or like with the limited amount of people for so long, you know, over a year, we felt that there probably was some anxiety in that. And I know I felt that, and I still do, thinking about going to be with people. So that was one of the reasons, but I also, it relates to our time that we're in Ochpanitzli, in that we're doing this reflection, we're doing this cleansing, this sweeping of ourselves, the limpia of ourselves, of our space, so that we can go into that time of hibernation, which is winter, where we are kind of closing down, we're going more internal because we have to, because it's colder, you know, and you need to be in shelter to be okay during the winter. But also, you know, that's like what the earth is doing too. The earth is going internal. All of the plants are going through that cycle of dying, and just kind of like rest. We're all going into the time of winter, which is a time of rest. And so that's what this can also be used for, just to help you rest. Because yes, maybe we have time to rest. Not all of us do, but some of us have time to rest. but do we allow ourselves to rest? Do we allow our minds to calm, our bodies to calm so that we can actually rest? And that was our intention in making this, is so we want you all to be able to rest. It's so important. It's revolutionary for people of color to rest, and we want to encourage that in our communities, right? So that we can sustain what we're doing. Rest is a part of the cycle of sustaining everything that we're doing in our lives. So how do you all, now I want to ask you, how do you all make time for rest and relaxation and truly are able to feel that rest and relaxation?
This is such a good question because I feel like it was instilled in me that I need to work. I'll constantly be doing something to earn my keep. And that anytime laying around, like you could be doing something else. And so it's been a hard lesson for me to be able to be still and not feel guilty for resting, but also being still in the silence. Like it's hard for me, you know. I always want to fill the space with something, and so it's something that I'm working on personally too, allowing myself to rest.
Thank you, Sonia. I feel the same way. The other day I spent the whole day just on the couch, and then I was like the whole day like, why am I on this couch? I should be doing something. And I'm like, same time, same voice, same person at the same time. No, it's okay. Well, why aren't you doing something? But it's okay. Calm down and rest. And I'm just talking to myself, trying to rest and not feel guilty about it. I like that, really slowing down, taking things at my pace. Yes. Yeah, the phone, right? Leaving it in another room, airplane mode, that's good. So we're not constantly checking it or feeling that pressure to respond at that moment or answer at that moment. Cool. All right, anyone else want to say any last words?
It looks like there's a question here. It says, do you filter the CBD and lavender out of the glycerin when you place it in the bottle?
Oh, in this bottle, in the like dropper bottle, yes, we did filter it out. We used, watch, I'll go get it right now. I'll show you.
Yeah, I could see how it would be hard to filter out the CBD because it's very small. And so for this one, I guess I would try to use a cheesecloth or some sort of fabric.
Yeah, we use one of these little strainers. You could see, I don't know if you could see how small that strain is, but we use this. And another option, because I have used like, you know, more ground up herbs, is just this is a kitchen towel, and it's thinner, right? So you just you put it over the bottle that you want to pour the stuff in, or maybe in this case you wouldn't pour it in here directly. You would have a bowl, and then you would pour the mixture onto the towel and let the glycerin go through to the other side of the towel, and then the herbs will stay on top. And you could use this again, like this is just a kitchen towel. You could just clean it and use it again.
Sorry, I missed the second part because my phone died, but we add the CBD to the lavender.
No, we haven't done that yet. We haven't
Oh.
mixed them yet.
Okay, so we just did the lavender so far.
We just did the lavender and then we asked, how do you make time for rest and relaxation and truly feel it? So people were answering that. And then
Okay.
we got into straining the herbs once you put it in the bottle. So yeah, bandanas or handkerchiefs work too. Worn clothes, yep, that's closely woven. Really good ideas. I love these ideas, especially because we're not buying extra things to make it happen. We have all of the tools around us most of the time. We don't really need cheesecloth, right? That's just something that people do use. We have a lot of the things around us. So thank you for those earth-friendly suggestions.
Is there a place that you recommend, like a place that's respectful to find the herb for the CBD, the hemp?
Yeah. So this CBD was grown by my sister and her partner in northern New Mexico, and we do sell it. Abuela's Medicina does sell their CBD. We have bud and shake from them.
Thank you.
Mhm. Great. So yeah, so when we originally made the tinctures, we did tincture them separately. And the reason for that is so that you can taste the two separately, so that when you mix them, you can mix them in a way that you like personally. Like maybe this is too strong for you. The lavender in here is too strong. So you might want to put more glycerin to water it down, or put more of the CBD mixture than the lavender mixture, so that it tastes the way that you want it to, because you're making this medicine so that you will take it, so that you will use it. So you want it to be enjoyable to you. And one way of doing that is by separating them so you can taste it before you have your final product. Or just have two tinctures. Maybe you never mix them. That's totally up to you. So now we're going to mix the CBD. So it's the same process. You're gonna open your little baby bottle, your baby food jar. And then you wanna pour just a little bit at a time so you could ensure that the glycerin covers it all again. So I'm just gonna pour a little bit and then stir it in. And I'm gonna use my same stir because I know for sure I'm gonna mix these two together at the end, just like we did for the medicine we gave you. So I'm just gonna use the same stir. It's up to you if you want to use a different one. You don't have to, even if you're not gonna mix them in at the end. But you might have a little bit of lavender in your CBD. Or you can wash it before you mix it, use it again. Thank you, Sunny. All right. So, yeah, so just continue doing that, adding as much CBD as you want to, or making sure that the glycerin is covering it all. And there, every time, like I've noticed that every time I learn to make a tincture, the instructions change with every herb, with every liquid that you use, and with the different people that you talk to. Some people are really, really, careful to use an exact measurement for herbs versus the liquid. Some people use their fingers to parse out the measurement, right? Some people just mix it and just see what happens, which is kind of more my style. But I think the most important part is that the liquid is covering the herb. You could get more specific with that after that. Like maybe you want to be very specific about how much herb to liquid ratio. but the most important rule is that the liquid is covering the herb, whatever herb it is.
Do we need to like scrape it down off of the sides?
If you can, it's not gonna hurt it very much if you can't get every single little bit, but try and get as much as you can. And a lot of it will, like, you know, slowly drip back in once you have it just sitting in your dark spot. With our last few minutes, I wanted to ask you all if you use CBD before, and if you have, what for?
I used it when I was postpartum, and it was a really great plant ally for healing during that time.
That's nice. I've used CBD oil, and not really a tincture before, but on oil to help with that relaxation. I would take it internally, but also use it externally on pain for pain. Yes, for anxiousness and sleep meditation, those are also good. Headaches, PMS, cramps, definitely used it for cramps. Stress, use it in body work practice, joint muscle pain. Definitely, yeah, there's so many benefits for CBD. I'll read you out some I looked up online. Inflammation, mood, anxiety to improve sleep, resilience to stress, cognition, neurologic healing, pain signaling, gut function, tissue recovery after exercise or injury, and probably a lot more.
Yeah, I remember my one of my high school boyfriends, his mom always had a jar of like seeds and stems, and she used to use it for her arthritis.
Nice. Oh yeah, the mixture that we gave you was ground up, but it was a mixture of bud and shake. So, you know, the shake has a lot of buds in it already, but when you use the buds, it just makes it a little bit more strong. And I wasn't able to add the full herbs in this one because it seemed like it was filling up. I might do it later because you could kind of see how it's separating at the bottom, but at this point I'm not going to. And you could see at the top there's a little bit, and that's gonna be okay as long as there's just not like a bunch sticking out. But it'll be okay looking like this. So we only have about 4 minutes left. So I wanted to leave a little bit of space to see if there's any questions. And our checkout for today is just a one word, verbal or chat it to us that describes your learning experience today. Calming, nice. Maybe it's because we're surrounded by our lavender and CBD friends. Presence. I find presence when working with medicines too. I love that part of it. It really just brings you right here. Yeah, we have been recording this, so we will share it out somehow. We haven't talked about that yet, but it'll be out there. Relaxed. Oh, that's a nice one. Grounding. Nice. Agradecida, grounding. Nice. Perfect. Oh, Lauren, I'm glad that you were able to join us and change that around. Great. Well, thank you all for finding us, for joining us. It was so good to share space with you all and share this information with people that you know. We want everyone to know all of this. These are just 2 herbs, but to make tinctures, it's pretty much the same process for any other herb. Now you all know how to do it, and I love doing this because it reminds me of when I was little, just like making all of my little mud pies and stuff, but now we could really use these. So just experiment with it, play, allow your inner child out, and just see what happens, see what comes of it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. And thank you to our interpreters, Ruth and Nancy. And we hope you have a good rest of your weekend, y'all.
Yes, likewise. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, Chastity.
Bye. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Bye, Anais and Maya.
Thank you.
You're welcome.